How are you keeping? Because I didn't ask you this beforehand. We've just been chatting beforehand, and I said, well, I'll learn along with everyone else who's not seen the videos and been following your recoveries closely as other people have, I suppose. How are you physically now, and what were the issues originally a few months ago when you? So it was a back infection, or was it a spine infection?
Yeah, a spine infection. And I have to say, I say it every day when I wake up before I'm even able to do things I wasn't able to do when this infection was really hitting me. And I'm just grateful to be alive, upright, be able to walk without the assistance of a walker and cane, which I keep just off camera here as a reminder that I should be thankful, grateful, blessed, all that stuff. But what basically happened was it wasn't an all of a sudden thing, but it came on, the really bad part came on all of a sudden. So apparently I was basically suffering from this infection for months. Little by little, I was either feeling very tired, I was run down, I was having back pain. But you interview a lot of pro wrestlers, a lot of legends in this business. Every single wrestler is going to have that lower back pain eventually. We're all going to hit a wall, and we're all going to have to deal with rehab, surgery, all the above, anything, or in Hogan's case, repeatedly getting those like input nodes to electroshock your back. Like every wrestler is going to have either a neck and or lower back injury. So for months, I was just thinking, my back's starting to hit that wall. Maybe I'm going to need surgery. Maybe I'm going to need a nerve block, whatever fix I could have at this point to keep going. And then in the end of January on a Sunday morning, had one of my best workouts ever. Thought I was pulling through like one of those bouts where your lower back keeps biting you. And, when you sit down for a living, you're editing videos, you're podcasting, which you know exactly what that feels like. You're just thinking, well, maybe I'm just stiff because I'm sitting down too much and I got to do other things. But from 9 a.m. when I got home, and I thought, okay, that was a good workout, to noon after podcasting and doing the SmackDown review with Ben Hameen, and then sitting here for some video editing, I was completely stuck in my chair. It was just a mystery. Like my back has locked out, but not to the point where my legs are almost useless. Not paralyzed, not numb, but it hurt so bad I couldn't put pressure on my legs because it would shoot up into my back. So my wife literally from 9 a.m. when I got home and then at noon had me in a walker. I went right to a walker. I'm moving around, and it's just now fear. The early set of fear is settling in. Like, well, I've never experienced pain like this. Being debilitated, being in bed, or having a walker where I can't even really use the walker after a little while. So fast forward 2 weeks later, many doctors, pain management clinics, spinal clinics, not finding anything, even 2 visits to a hospital emergency room because the pain was so bad. And even it got admitted for a day or two in the first hospital after about 2 weeks of not knowing what was going on. And is this going to be my life now? Because they didn't say I need surgery. They didn't see herniated disc in my spine or anything that was normal for a pro wrestler with 30 plus years. We went to the Mayo Clinic and we were just begging them, please see what I'm like right now, because I went from a walker to right before the Mayo Clinic needing a wheelchair at the hotel. Couldn't even use a walker because in those 2 weeks, James, I'm not eating right, I'm not sleeping at all, and all my arm strength is used to use the walker, not my legs. So that's going to give out eventually. So I'm in a wheelchair. And then Mayo Clinic finally got eyes on me. Thank God. Finally got eyes on me. And once they saw me, I got admitted. They started doing tests. They did a spine biopsy, which, by the way, because of the infection, none of the Twilight type of anesthesia worked. I felt every bit of them hammering a needle into my spine.
Oh,
Dude, I'm telling you, I was just like laying there, and he kept apologizing, and I just hear that it sounded like a railroad spike going into my back.
so was it?
So
Did we having like epidurals and the whole bit as well to numb the area, or?
no, and thankfully, I'm glad they didn't. They didn't do a nerve block earlier in the pain management clinic or any of these other places because they, quite frankly, they didn't know what they were looking for. And that's why the Mayo Clinic had an infectious disease person take a look at it and see from the CT scan in the previous hospital 7 days later in the Mayo Clinic, it went from being just a little hot spot, like a white spot, to literally eating away at half my L4 and L5 vertebrae, both of them. It was that fast moving once it hit my spine. So they put me on broad spectrum antibiotics like right away before they even knew what strain of infection it might be. They're like, this thing is moving so fast, we got to attack it, meaning that they were afraid, not knowing you can't predict the pattern or how, like, it works so slow for 7, 8 months, hits the spine, and then like in a week, 2, maybe 3 weeks, it's just going to town on my vertebrae and working its way up from L5 to L4, part of L3. So what they needed to do now is like, what do we got to do to keep this thing from going into his brain and then eating every level of vertebrae up into the brain? Very scary stuff, which they didn't tell me until after we were out in the woods. So I was like, that's a good rib.
Can I ask, do you know where the infection stemmed from? I mean, was this something that just sort of built up from within, or was this something external that you somehow caught this infection?
We're still like being very careful about, but I own, 2 garage gyms that we rent. We don't own them, but I have the garage gym business. And at first we thought it might've been because I wasn't as attentive with the cleaning. Like every home and garage gym owner, we're never cleaning as well as a commercial gym. We thought it might've been that, and I might've had an open cut or something, because it kind of resembled the symptoms of staph infection or MRSA, if you get that. And plenty of wrestlers have gotten that from mat burn, but I hadn't wrestled in at least 2 or 3 years full time. So I thought it might have been in the gym, and it wasn't that. What they believe it was is that I was over at my best friend's house and his dogs got freaked out by something that happened. And I just happened to be petting one of the dogs. It bit me right in the face and like right through the skin to the other side. The other one got freaked out by the noise and then got freaked out because the dog got freaked out and bit me in the leg. It was a goofy thing, but the point of that was, number one, I'm glad it didn't bite my wife. I'm glad it didn't bite the neighborhood kids that were over in the house either, because it would have been a lot more traumatic to have that. I can at least grow the beard out and cover it somewhat. But not long after that, and see, when we went to the emergency room too, a lot of stuff has happened. So if I skip something, I'm sorry.
No, please go on.
The emergency room, they believe too that what might have happened is the emergency room sealed the wound up on my face too tightly, because they said that sometimes with animal bites, you need to keep it open to some degree to keep the infection from being sealed in. That's pure speculation. The other thing, if that wasn't enough, I got COVID like 4 days after that. So my not so much the feeling or the sickness of the week of being, having the COVID, but it was mostly they feel like that may have knocked my immune system down enough to let the infection travel. That's kind of all that stuff put together was kind of a recipe for something that still only happens to a very small percentage, thank God, of the population, because osteomyelitis, which is the official diagnosis, is probably one of the most painful things that probably the most painful thing I've ever had to experience in my life.
Where are you exactly with your health now? Are you officially clearing out of the woods? What are you doing in the gym? Are you walking normally, running normally? Where are you now?
Well, if you saw my running video, I can't quite run normally anyway. Your father, who you talked about, he's still running, is probably a lot better of a runner than I am, even without the infection. I can just use that as an excuse. Oh yeah, I have terrible form because of the infection. That's right. But it's always going to be in the back of our mind, and we're always going to have to get blood work, at least for the foreseeable future, to make sure. That's how you tell if you have the infection, the blood work, if it's hitting the yellow or the red in certain blood markers. That's how they found it initially as well, besides the CT scan. I'm officially out of the woods, but I also have to be very careful because the effects from the spine infection have still lowered my immunity. I'm down about 35 pounds still, which I wanted to lean out, but I didn't want to do it that way. but I was down from 215 and I dropped to 180. Now I'm around 180, 185. But my workouts, I have to say, thank God, have been outside of hip hinging movements and putting any kind of pressure, axial pressure on my neck or my spine. I'm pretty much able to do just about everything. Now, what I've done, James, too, because I'm really a fitness enthusiast, and that's why I have my fitness brand. I started my fitness journey all over again. And I'm still technically, even after about 2 months, I'm cardio, like 90% isometrics, some suspension body weight training, and maybe a little bit of cable work. But isometrics have been the core thing to, number one, activate my muscles again because they were atrophy for so long, to kind of start to heal the arthritis, which creeped up because every single injury I ever suffered, I know you talked about your ACL, you're going to have arthritis unless you keep working out, you keep moving, you keep active. So that those months of not being able to do anything, every bit of the arthritis came up. So the isometrics kind of start to strengthen my muscles and take the impact off my joints. And then, of course, overtraining cardio and stuff like that. I'm like, I'll say blessed, grateful, thankful, all that stuff a million times, because there's no amount of times I could say it to express. Like, even sitting here talking to you pain-free, it's never going to leave me how amazing that feels compared to what I was, I think, like 6 or 8 weeks ago, maybe even sooner.
Do you, I'll just bring this up very quickly, as you said, because I bore everyone to death with my ACL story. Do you sort of get, after I had the operation, in fact, after I did the injury, and then after I had the operation, and then you were a lot weaker, and my leg is atrophied, and then you have to work so hard to do the basic stuff again. Do you sort of do you get like a silver lining sort of satisfaction of seeing such improvement over the course of just a few weeks when you start really building up again? Because it's like, I mean, you've been working out, I'm sure, for decades now. And the first 6 weeks, they say, when you start hitting the weights and everything, you see tons of improvement, and then everything else is, smaller portions of improvement every single time.
Well, I think I go back to the isometrics too, because a lot of times when you work out, and then if you're in the same environment, the same gym, your home gym, garage gym, whatever it might be, you become comfortable and you start going through the motions. And basically, we're working out too. Just like people, isometrics is just flexing your muscles. Dynamic movements is when you're talking about up and down on curls or pressing or pulling or whatever it is. People tend to kind of just blow through the first 8, 9, 10 reps until they get tired and sore and it becomes difficult. Then they're working out properly. With isometrics, there's no cheating. There's no just going through the motions. You literally have to squeeze, time under tension, stuff like that. So I feel like this round of resetting my fitness journey has gotten me more gains, because I'm never going to forget about the basics and the foundation, because right now, as part of a natural fusion over the next year to 18 months, isometrics, water weights, body movements, suspension training are going to have to be the mainstay of my fitness journey. Actually,
sorry.
That's okay. The mainstream of my fitness journey, I have no choice. So I have no choice but to train properly now. And that's why it's actually very satisfying to see that. But on the other end, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And this is something else I'll repeat, without the support, encouragement, and the motivation of my wife. Because this particular thing, and any wrestler who's had both, or any person who's had both, an injury and an illness, as an athlete or any kind of athlete or entertainer, injury has a blueprint on how you can recover. Your ACL, as much as it'll suck, as long as it'll take, as frustrating as it'll be, you know exactly how long it should take to recover if you do everything right.
Yeah.
With an infection like this, dude, there's still people that 6 months in, 8 months in, still aren't walking, still aren't functioning, still aren't doing anything. Or, matter of fact, they're still getting worse. So I look at that and I go, wow, I'm so, thankful for that. And then my wife telling me I can do it, when the fear of the unknown, saying, I never experienced this before. So how am I ever going to get better? And my wife says, shut up, you are going to get better. And that kind of tough love, motivation. She was my Mickey to my Rocky movie type thing. He slapped me across the face, not literally, but telling me, you need to just go and do this. As Mickey said, just go do good, and you do good, I guess. Whatever he said.
You go get him, kid. That kind of thing.
But he was like, he goes, you do good, and I'm going to be watching you do good. It was some South Philly thing that I grew up with, where it doesn't make any sense.
Do you know, I'll leave this in the main clip as well, but please tell people your YouTube channel, your fitness regime, where people can find all of that now.
As I'm about to plug my own stuff, I almost destroyed my microphone.
You know, you got really excited then when.
I did. I was like, oh, finally somebody's asking me about my. I have Stevie Richards Fitness, and what I do is, I basically try to help people through the YouTube channel, mostly with the videos, the reviews, the information, to basically help them make the best consumer decision, the most informed consumer decision for a home, garage, gym, whatever gym space. And obviously, from wrestling was exciting when I did it because it was always changing. You can always reinvent yourself. We're going to talk a little bit about that with my career. But in the fitness world too, it never gets boring. There's always a new workout, a new program. Then you get a deadly spine infection and you get to experience a whole new version of your fitness journey after that. And that was my mission statement before, but the infection actually taught me to be even more empathetic for people that are limited right now at this point. And if somebody's back is really, really hurting and debilitating them, now I can have that empathy and know how they feel. So I have a broader understanding as a businessman too, what to do. And Stevie Richards Fitness also has resistance band training programs. Right now, they're just under $10. They've been under $10 because I want everybody to have the most accessible, affordable workout programs that they can have. And also I support those programs personally. So I have a great passion for helping and serving others. And I think later on, we'll talk about a new category that I'm kind of diving into. Hopefully you and Dutch maybe be a part of that, because I would feel remiss not including Dutch, one of the greatest minds in the business, with the type of content that I'm planning on putting out there.
We'll bring that up in a bit, but I'll have all the links for everybody if you're interested in Stevie Richards Fitness. I'll have it in the this YouTube channel and every video that we post. So in description, comments and that kind of thing.